Thank you, Reyna, again for being here with us. So this is a special interview behind the scenes directly from Montemar, Ecuador, with our Reyna. So Reyna and Roberto, they are the owners and the guests and much more. The first question, Reyna, that I always ask the remoters is, what's the story behind the dream?
So the story behind is related with our background. Roberto and I come from the science field. Roberto is a biologist, I'm an ecologist. So we were both attracted and loved the idea of Galapagos since we were kids. We're living here, and one of the things that we realized is that it's such a special part of the world, so unique. There's no two Galapagos, there's only one Galapagos, and it's such a responsibility to be able to live here. We wanted to build this pilot that proves that livelihood can be different, that the way we do tourism can be different, and can be gentler in the earth and on nature, and we can have a more horizontal relationship of humans and nature.
Do you feel strongly about the purpose behind?
Yes, this is who we are. This is a concept that was born from really deeply in our souls for my husband and I. And what's the difference? I mean, like, usually people ask me if the components are a result of market research, that now that everybody, the trend is to go for environmentally friendly products. And actually for us, has anything to do with the marketing trends. Actually, this was something that we started as a family, and it started as our home. And it built up from there, and it became a hosting project, and that's what Montemar is. But it's really a dream from a family that decided to walk the path that they were talking about.
And Montemar, it's known for sustainability, as many of our members. So I even watched a TEDx from you, Reyna. So I'm honored to be here with a TEDx speaker on water resources. And I just wanted to know a bit further about some of your pillars. So I know water, it's one of them, because you're in an island, you want to protect it. Local materials. So can you tell us a bit more what's behind the sustainability pillars for Montemar?
We wanted to make a statement about design, because usually people relate sustainable villas with rustic things. That was the second. And the third one is materials. Why? Because when Roberto and I were completely amazed when we saw the statistics of cargo that were arriving to Galapagos. And we saw the statistics, and more than 70% of the cargo that arrives to Galapagos is for construction. So if you think that the biggest threat to biodiversity in Galapagos is invasive species that come either on an airplane or in a boat with goods for humans, we decided that this project with local materials mostly, because we can scale that up, we can reduce imports. And in that way, we have a direct impact on conservation, because we are reducing the probability of invasive species. I don't know if that makes sense, and if you can follow that long line of thought.
But, yes, of course. It's the footprint at the end, right? So it's directly at the, yes, interfere at the footprint. Just wanted to check with you if this is something that comes up from the guests, and I'm sure it does, on how they feel more re-energized after spending a few days there, because it all makes you more integrated with nature. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's the whole idea, and what you get as a final product at the end is, we have had clients that tell us that they feel grounded. I don't know if that word rings a bell, but it's like, it's a grounding experience. And it's and for example, we have had clients that describe silence as a really important component of the whole experience, because we are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like, there's only giant tortoises that are our neighbors. So the silence and these magnificent animals walking and living on a place whose main component are locals, it's really a grounding experience, I will say. And it really puts you in contact with to explore a different luxury, a luxury that has to do with a different way of exploring that concept. It's not related with the TV. It's not related with lots of the things that we usually, but it's the luxury of silence, the luxury of nature in its purest form. For me, it's like that's inspiring, and that's what inspired both that energy and that deep thing that you can feel when you're in the Galapagos Islands, and to be able to transmit that thing that I cannot describe with words. For us, it's important.
You are known as someone who is really a local expert for families and itineraries, and that's very natural for you, and it's related to your own story as a mother. So can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yeah, so our story, besides Roberto and I, has two other members, which are Cayetano and Marisol, my two kids. They were raised here in Galapagos, and so our hosting tools, they come from experience, from lived the life of a family on the Galapagos. So we know what are the best hours to go, what's the best transportation, what the kids like, what the kids do not like, what's better for big families, because we always have grandparents visiting, and we've got great grandparents, my great grandparent visiting. So we have been able to identify things that families can do from a really round perspective, so everybody can be happy.
Reyna, thank you so much for all this information. I feel I could stay here, enjoying your company and your stories and tales on Montemar much more, but I save it for the moment when I happen to be there, to be grounded and to be fulfilled by this lovely nature. And so I thank you so much for sharing a few details and behind the scenes stories with us today. And I see you soon at our remote community.